want to know what the main, out of the 5 points, what is the main thing that's, for lack of a better term, wrong? What's wrong about Calvinism?
See, the ultimate problem with Calvinism, hard 5-point Calvinism, in my view, is it makes the world a sham because we really don't have a free choice, but God is telling us that we ought to choose him when we can't choose him because he hasn't chosen us at all. And secondly, it makes God the author of evil.
So Romans 9, that's probably one of the key passages in or about Calvinism. And Paul paints this picture of Israel's history and how they've departed by and large from Jesus. They've denied Jesus. And the question is raised, well, is God's purpose, or has God's purpose failed? And then Paul explains that no, his purpose has not failed because his purpose was never based upon what the human person did in relation to his purpose, his promise. And then Paul raises 2 objections to this, which Frank Turek actually raises himself against Calvinism. So we could actually say here that Frank is arguing against Paul here. And those 2 objections are, one, that God choosing some and not others, not based on anything in them, but only based upon his sovereign free pleasure, would make God unjust, which is very similar to God being the author of evil. When we say, or when somebody says God is the author of evil, they are necessarily saying God is unjust. So Frank's first objection against Calvinism is actually an objection that Paul raises against himself, and then Paul refuses it, or he refutes it. And then Frank's other objection is that it makes human choice robotic or fake or not really genuine. And that would actually be Paul's second objection against his argument that he raises, that where he says, the objector says, why does God still find fault? For who can resist his will? Paul's answer to this objector, and we would say Paul's answer to Frank Turek, would be, who are you, O man, to answer back to God? Both of these are actually objections that Paul in Romans 9 accounts for and then refutes. So we would just say that Frank should subject his theology to Paul's argument, and he should not be crafting his theology based upon the objector's argument.